Dr. Anshu. Anshu ma'am. Dr. Anshu.
Yes.
We are good to go. We are live streaming as well as our chief guest has joined. So proceed accordingly, right?
Okay. Thank you very much. Very good morning to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Most Reverend Professor Dr. R. Bilal sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs and Quality Assurance, Professor Dr. A.K.A. Lawrence, Pro Vice Chancellor, Administration, Professor Dr. S.V. Lal, Pro Vice Chancellor, Planning, Monitoring, Development, Reverend Professor S. Herbert, Registrar of the University, Professor Dr. Robin L. Prasad, Joint Registrar Administration, Engineer C. John Wesley, Convener of the webinar and Dean Ethelind School of Home Science, Professor Dr. Ranu Prasad, esteemed speakers of the webinar, Dr. Dhurjati Majumdar, Dr. Alok Bajpai, and Dr. Shilpa Kant Trivedi, and able participants from all across the nation. I welcome all in the single-day national webinar planned to address the issues of living with COVID-19 and arising from that, the biomechanical and psychological considerations for family well-being, jointly organized by the Department of Human Development and Family Studies and Department of Family Resource Management and Consumer Science, Ethelind College of Home Science, Prayagraj. Before starting the technical sessions, I would like to request University Chaplain, Pastor Richmond Saxena, to seek blessings from God Almighty to bless each one of us to be gainfully benefited by the webinar in these difficult times.
Greetings to you in the matchless name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Once again, it's a great privilege for all of us to be together. Before we start this webinar, I would like to read from the Bible, Matthew chapter 6, beginning from verse 25. Jesus said, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is it not life more than food and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? And why do you worry about your clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they neither toil or not spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon, in all his glory, was not clothed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what we will eat, what we will drink, and what we will wear. But strive first for the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So do not worry about tomorrow, or for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today." Let us look our Lord in prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we are thankful and grateful to you for the privilege, Lord, you have given to us so that we may assemble together through this webinar. We are sitting at different places, but we are well connected to each other. We are thankful, Lord, that the theme that has been taken, living with COVID-19, biomechanical and psychological consideration for family well-being. We are thankful for this, that you have given this opportunity to our staff members, to our university, so that they may organize this important webinar, so that people who are going through stress, people who are going through anxiety, people who are going through pain may find comfort. We have just read from the Bible that how much our Heavenly Father cares for us. And many times we try to sort out problems for our own rather than depending upon you. And through this webinar, we pray that people may find right solution. We pray for our university. We are thankful for our Honorable Vice Chancellor, his leadership, that under whose able leadership we are able to organize these webinars. And even in this situation, when the coronavirus is rising, we pray, Lord, that through all these webinars that we are having through our university, Lord, we may bring hope to the people. Father, Lord, we are thankful for our Pro-Vice Chancellors. We are thankful, Lord, for our chief guest for this occasion, Professor Dr. A.K.A. Lawrence, who has given his special time to address us. And we pray that your blessing be upon him and upon his family. We are also thankful for our registrar, sir, that you continue to bless him. We are also thankful for our joint registrar, Engineer C.J. Wesley, who always help us in connecting us together and helping in coordinating and organizing this these webinars. We are thankful, Lord, for the convener, the Dean of Home Science, Professor Ranu Prasad. We are thankful for the organizing secretary, Dr. Anshu, and all the team members that they will continuously work hard for this. They have worked hard for this webinar, and we pray for the success that everyone may able to hear properly. We especially pray for our speakers, Dr. Durajiti Majumdarji, Dr. Alok Bajpayee, Dr. Shipa Khan Dwivedi, Lord, that you continue to bless them. We are thankful they have given their special time to address this need, and we pray that through their expertise, we all be blessed. We commit the entire proceedings into your hand. We commit the attendees, participants into your hand, that bless all of us. Your name be praised and glorified. And through this webinar, once again, we may become the hope for those who are in stress, who are in pain, who are in suffering, and we need your compassion, your healing touch upon our country and upon this whole world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Richmond, for seeking blessings for the webinar and well-being of the human beings. Now, I would request Professor Dr. A.K. Lawrence, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs and Quality Assurance, to please share a brief sketch of the university with the gathering. Dr. Lawrence.
Thank you very much, Anshu. I'm thankful to the organizers for inviting us in this webinar, which is of its own kind and very important at this time of anxiety and trouble. I would like to welcome Dr. Majumdar, Mr. Bajpayee, Dr. Shilpa Dwivedi, Professor Ranu Prasad, the Dean of College of Home Science, the head of the departments and faculty members of Ethelind College of Home Science. On this outset, I am very pleased that the national webinar, international webinar or national webinar on living with COVID-19, biomechanical and physiological considerations of family well-being is being organized by Ethelind College of Home Science of our university. We have, as far as the history of our institution is concerned, we really have a long heritage and rich culture of serving the Lord, the land, and the world. This pioneer professional institution has successfully traveled 110 years, and today, as a multi-faculty state university, it stands as a dedicated and relentless service provider to the state, nation, and to the world. Our university has been designing, developing, offering state-of-art undergraduate and graduate programs and conducting quality research in accordance with the need of the hour. For example, like agriculture, food security, water security, and productivity, biotechnology, uh, food technology, dairy, remote sensing, and GIS, etc., etc. The present academic structure of the university is supported with six faculties, and those faculties are agriculture, engineering and technology, business studies, humanity and social sciences, theology, um, health science, and basic sciences. Our university has 12 institutes and colleges within the campus with the 56 departments, which offer altogether 47 undergraduate programs, 110 graduate programs, 16 diploma, and 57 uh, doctoral programs in various specializations. As on today, the university has 1,450 teaching and non-teaching staff members. Similarly, over 10,000 students from 21 states of the nation are registered in the university in various academic programs. The university also has 319 foreign students from 12 countries. I certainly appreciate the effort of the Department of Human Resource for organizing this webinar during COVID-19 pandemic. This will certainly enlighten the path to overcome the challenges with more opportunities and with a positive outcome to help every family. Now, COVID-19 is spreading quickly, causing great deal of fear and unrest in the public. But today, apart from physiological consideration for family being, I am specifically emphasizing the psychological impact of COVID-19 on university and college students, their families, and of course, coping strategies, how we are going to cope with it. Uh, as we update ourselves, the studies have suggested that the public health emergencies can have many physiological, psychological effects on university students and their parents, which can be expressed as anxiety, fear, worry, and so on. The COVID-19 related stressors, including economic stresses, effect on daily life, and academic delays, have been positively associated with the level of anxiety symptoms of university student and their families. During this unprecedented crisis, the mental health of a university or college student and their parents is significantly affected, and they require attention, help, and support of the society, other families, and universities and colleges. We must explore factors influencing their anxiety to design solutions because central and state governments and institutions should collaborate to resolve this problem in order to provide high quality, timely crisis oriented psychological services to the university and college students and to their parents. We are positive that the national webinar will project the spectrum of various expressions of family psychology during this unprecedented crisis, and our people will have a direction to combat this hazard. I would like to thank the keynote speakers for their valuable time. Also express my gratitude to the chairperson, the convener, organizing secretary from Ethelind College of Home Science, for organizing this meaningful event. I am so thankful to you. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for introducing participants with the university background, its achievements, and for your word of encouragement. Now, before I invite the speakers to share their views, I would like to share in few words the whole idea of creating this platform for sharing some of the important aspects of one of the most difficult times in human existence. Times are changing, and so are perspectives, especially related to work and lifestyle. In the time of COVID-19 pandemic, approximately 1/3 of the world is living in some sort of lockdown or quarantine. In this ambivalent situation, people are likely to develop a range of physiological, physical, psychological, and social distress. The rapid spread of the disease has called for a lot of physical and psychological adaptations to be made in our lifestyle. We are at present facing and dealing with a lot of psychological, biomechanical, social, occupational, and financial issues, which are taking us into a topsy-turvy world where we are sure of nothing. Family health and wellness is at risk, thereby impacting community and national health in a wider perspective. This national webinar focuses on dealing with biomechanical and psychological issues erupting within the families during COVID-19 times. In India, since mid-March, we have started the practice of work from home due to the widespread of this virus. Unfortunately, no schools, colleges, or offices have taught us about the right postures to be adopted for different tasks. The situation has forced us, the working people, to shift their workstations to their homes, in which many times the conditions are not conducive to maximize the work output. There might be a number of problems like an improper workstation, inadequate lighting, long working hours, adaptation of incorrect postures, constantly viewing of the computer screens, and the like, giving rise to fatigue, musculoskeletal aches and pains, especially in the lower back and neck, numbness in fingers, fatigue of eyes, and redness and dry eye syndrome. Along with the physical distress, various psychological issues have also started to manifest themselves in the communities. The coronavirus is not just claiming lives, but the state of pandemic is making people anxious, stressed, and restless. People under threat of the disease are likely to develop a wide range of symptoms like emotional exhaustion, mood swings, confusion, difficulty in concentration, irritability, insomnia, withdrawal, feeling of disconnectedness, and developing feeling of sadness and hopelessness. These issues, if not addressed on time, might lead to severe depression and suicidal ideation. We cannot allow this crisis to cripple the well-being of families. The need of the hour is to learn and the art of living with the situation and utilizing it in the best possible way so that the welfare of the families can be restored. The biomechanical risk factors along with the psychological distress can become catastrophic for the well-being of the families. Therefore, we have three stalwarts of their respective fields to help us understand how to cope with the difficulty. The biomechanical risk factors along with psychological distress can become very, very bad for the people. We are honored to have Dr. Majumdar, Director, Grade Scientist G, who has retired from one of the most prestigious institutions of our nation, DRDO, which is placed in Delhi. Dr. Dhurjyoti Majumdar specializes in ergonomics and human factors. He has served in CLI, Mumbai, and DRDO, Delhi. He has researched extensively in the areas of environmental physiology, exercise physiology, physical economics, design ergonomics, cognitive ergonomics, gait, and biomechanics and yoga. Dr. Majumdar has conducted physiological acclimatization studies in Antarctica. He has established first 3D motion analysis laboratory in India, conducted several studies on occupational health and safety, training programs, and consultancy studies on the effect of heat, noise, and ergonomics issues on health and performance of the industrial workers in various industries in India. Along with wide experience of teaching in the area of human physiology, environmental physiology, exercise physiology, Dr. Majumdar has extensive experience of teaching in IITs, NITs, and other reputed academic institutes of India. On this forum, Dr. Majumdar will share his views on living with COVID-19, biomechanical and ergonomic issues. I welcome Dr. Majumdar.
Good morning, everybody. You can hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Loud and clear. Okay, fine. So I just share my screen. Is my screen visible to everybody?
Presentation mode, sir. Yeah, good, sir.
It is visible. Okay.
Yes.
Good morning again. I would, at the very beginning, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to the Sir Higginbotham University of Agriculture, Technology and Science for inviting me to exchange my knowledge and experience in this area of biomechanics and ergonomics to all the distinguished audience and faculties and other distinguished guests and speakers of the universities and all. And my point of contact is Dr. Anjali Mathur and Dr. Nishi Chakko. My special respect to them. And I express my respect to the Department of Human Development and Family Studies and Department of Family Resource Management and Consumer Science of Ethelind College of Home Science to organize this webinar on this very specific topic of biomechanics and ergonomics. Usually people do more of ergonomics and less of biomechanics, but it's not a problem because biomechanics in this situation of COVID-19 and restricted lifestyle, both are synonymous almost, although there are little bit of differences is there. At the very beginning, I will tell you that these are my contact numbers because I do not belong to DRDO or because I am a retired scientist. So I have got this contact numbers. If anybody has got any queries afterwards, after my lecture, when there will be a question answer session for 5 to 10 minutes, if the time doesn't permit, then you can contact me subsequently, okay? The problem is that during this COVID-19 period, we have almost crossed 100 days of the lockdown and so and so. But the fear of lockdown is not gone. You know, 2 months back when people started jumping on it and started expressing their dissatisfaction, I sent a clip on my LinkedIn and Facebook that why people are so anxious about, are they anxious about COVID-19 situation or they are anxious about the lockdown? I found they are more about the lockdown situation because it has changed the entire lifestyle of everybody. So before going into detail about this study, this biomechanics or ergonomics, now everybody has become very cautious about this ergonomics. And it is a very, very good sign because this subject is hardly developed in India, although it is an part and parcel of the engineering studies and design and consumer science, family resource management, and many studies and universities in Europe and other Western countries. So it is a very big science, but I will talk about a little bit about what are the problems of ergonomics in COVID-19 situation at the very beginning. Subsequently, what is the mechanism of development of the different pain sensation in the different parts of the body, and how this COVID-19 is affecting our body, our work situation, our work posture and everything. And then finally, what are the remedies, how we can cope up with this situation. Now, within 100 days of lockdown, more than 100 days of lockdown, and several media, international, internets and all, everybody is looking at their internet, and they have come to know in several things. But you know, as we know, that if you don't do your pranayam also positively, a yogic exercise, the pranayam, it has got no meaning. The similar way, if you don't practice the science and technology in a proper manner, it has got no meaning, because then it is not a failure. It comes back to you in a very, very odd way. So what happens actually in COVID-19 situation? It has caused, in the very beginning, at the early days of lockdown, everybody was very cheerful. Okay, there is no problem. We have got a lot of time to spend with our family, with our children, with everybody. We can chat as long as we want in our computer, with our mobile phone and all. But people gradually realized, and those people who are restricted and lockdown situation, and they were working from the home, especially everybody, from student to teachers to IT sector people to everybody, they realized it is not a new normal situation. It is really a difficult situation we are heading towards. And we do not know that when it will end till date. The very important part of this, we are confined to a restricted environment. And what this restricted environment has imposed us, it has an inactivity. You will all agree that inactivity is a problem, and less physical activity. Both the terms are two different terms. So please use it in a different way. Inactivity and less physical activity, which will ultimately lead to no exercise. Even myself, I used to walk every day 4 to 5 kilometers in the morning or in the evening. It has totally gone for the last 3 to 4 months. So inactivity, less physical activity, and no exercise of your physical exercise part is totally gone. So what happened along with this? Along with this then came is a problem called change food and nutrition issues. Your nutritional habits, your food habits change totally. You will agree with me that either most of us, we are overeating, possibly overeating, and not only that, we are food quality and food varieties also change. Another important issue which has been totally changed, which I think psychologists, they will touch upon it, is the visual cues. You know, whenever we are surviving for our survivability, visual cues is a very, very important thing. The surrounding environment, whatever we are seeing, everything is your cues. I was in Antarctica for 16 months. One of the important issues in staying in Antarctica or very high altitude region is you don't see anything. You don't see one or two people around you, or everywhere it is a whiteness. There is no, it can kill a man. A similar situation has taken place in the lockdown situation. You can't see your friend except in WhatsApp or Facebook or so and so. Otherwise, your family members or so. Other visual cues, external visual cues has totally gone. Along with these and another environmental restrictions has put us into a total altered sleep and rest cycle. Sometimes you forget about also what is the date, which day it is, then that date also you forget. So sleep and rest cycle totally altered. As long as the sleep and rest cycle is altered, it changes your circadian or biorhythmic activity. So it leads to another important issues. These are some of the problems what we are facing. Change in the mode of communication. That is a very, very important issues. Because from this change of mode of communication, we start our main ergonomics and biomechanics issues. Because This restricted accessibility to resources is another important that you will all agree. Although our resources are there everywhere, but we are all buying online shopping or are going 1 or 2 days outside and buying whatever possible, whatever available in the shop, bringing it home, and try to avoid human contact or the crowd and everywhere, whatever possible. The interpersonal and social dynamics has totally changed. Your relation and your society is totally gone. Your interpersonal relations are now totally restricted with your family only. I talk to my children and they say, what I talk to my friends, everybody are in the same situation. The young people, they are highly dissatisfied. They are totally unsatisfied. They are insecure of their future. They are thinking, will 1 year of our life will last? So it is a very, very difficult situation in the problem of interpersonal and social dynamics. So what happens actually? It has changed our lifestyle. We are in a peculiar altered lifestyle situation. And when in the altered lifestyle situation, I will share with you now some of the facts which I must tell you about that what happened in the altered lifestyle situation. You will all agree that we are imposed to work more of the computer or with our mobile. So our lifestyle, major part, we now spend on the internet and mobile and the computer, and how it is happening. Even in the family situation, the communication is totally gone. Now, what is there? The facts and figures of the influence of the smartphone, what it has done. It says the teens believe that in a recent study, it has come out, the teens believe that they can juggle about 6 to 7 forms of media at the same time. Up to 95% of the population is multitasking every day. Adults check 150 times of their smartphone per day, every 6 to 7 minutes, if not less. We are all doing in the same way, because this is our way of communication. This is our way of life. This is the lifestyle. More than 50% of the United Kingdom adults check their smartphone at least once per hour. 70% of the US smartphone owners, it says, they panicked when they cannot locate it. 50% of the US smartphone owners, if not more, check their smartphone when they're waking up and still in bed. Why US? It is very, very common now in India. But the study is based on those populations, and that's why I am restricting their figure only. It says that 1/3 check their smartphone even when they are in bathrooms. 33% check smartphone when during dining with others. And this is a very big problem with the children at home. Children during food, they forget to communicate with others. They forget that what they are eating actually. So there is no, it says that physiologically it is not good in terms of digestion. As long as your mind and soul is not, you are not digesting, you are not tasting the food, you are not taking the taste of the food, and it is not being mixed up with your saliva properly down the food chain, it is not digested properly. Even if you tell, I found that 100 times to your children specifically that don't do this thing, they will not listen to you totally. Okay, sometimes they listen, but mostly they try to avoid this kind of situation, and they imposed and they turn into that situation. They start using their mobile phone even during taking food. 1/3 of the adults check their phone immediately after they're receiving a notifications, and receiving a notification is increased tremendously. So what happens? So what happens? In 15 June, there is an article came out in the Times of India. It says that the screen use, that is the mobile or laptop or personal computer use, has increased 3 hours to 5 hours per day. It is a tremendous, and it is an average figure. You know, it is actually study of Ericsson mobility study, which has come out in the June. After June, they studied and they published, and they shows they have studied in the 11 different countries. major COVID-affected countries, US, UK, all European countries, Brazil, Mexico, and whatnot in Australia. And they found the data consumption of 12 GB user per month India is highest. That is, we are the highest user of internet and mobile in the world. And but it has got good thing also. 89% of the 60 plus, the senior citizen feels reliable video calling help them to stay in touch with family and friends and cope up with the similar situation because they cannot go out. They are afraid of it. Like me, I am 64-year-old. I am always afraid that if I go out, what will happen to us? So it is a beneficial for us, at least from the psychological point of view. But is it, you know, there is an organization, we call it in borderless doctors. They'll go everywhere and they serve the mankind. So a new concept has come up with the COVID-19 situation. We call it as in borderless workplaces. 79% of the working people believe working remotely will be the new normal when the COVID-19 pandemic has passed. But is it beneficial or not? We do not know. But it says that workplace has now no boundary. You can work from anywhere. I am from Delhi. Dr. Bajpayee is from the Kanpur, and everywhere sitting in the different parts of the world. So for youth, what happens? The laptop or mobile are now the lifeline of education, their entertainment, their communication, their purpose of life is that internet, laptop, and mobile, and taking almost 16 hours of their lifestyle day, affecting their health, both physical and mental. And this is the crust of the problem of COVID-19 situation of the entire family. It is not only the youth, it is for the parents, it is for everybody, even starting from child about 4-year-old to everybody 80-year-old, everybody. We are now dependent entirely on your mobile network services, that you will agree with it. And during use of this internet, that is the mobile and laptop, or your personal computer, which are mostly not using it, what happens actually? We are taking different postures. Either we are lying down on our bed or on different ways, or we are sitting on the sofa, we are sitting on a chair and working with our laptop, and laptop use is increased tremendously. But this kind of slouching posture, whether you are sitting on the floor or on the sofa again, or in a relaxing posture, your computer, or lying totally on your back and keeping the laptop on your tummy, or in the sitting posture, in your proper work posture, in a proper workstation. These are all affecting our body mechanics or body dynamics to a great extent. And how it is, I am showing you some of the posture, but if you are interested, you can see your family members and how they are changing their posture with the laptop, with the mobile phone, in a different posture in the different time. But I should say that this posture, in terms of biomechanics or ergonomics, none of this posture is a good posture. These postures are not neutral postures. And at the very beginning, Dr. Ranu Prasad has specifically mentioned about the posture, which is the biggest problem and the biggest issues. And this term, the terminology of the posture, is been echoed everywhere in every person in the world because of the COVID-19 lockdown situation. These are all postures, and most of the postures we are taking, these are awkward postures. These are unhealthy postures. If you maintain this posture for a long time, it is going to affect your body different joints. You are developing different pain in the different joints of the body, and which is ultimately, in the long run, may lead to musculoskeletal disorders. But this problem is not only in your work from home, at your home, because many of the persons, why it is happening, because many of us, we do not have a proper workstation while we are working at home, or we are working in your school and colleges. We have your workstation with your bench and chair. Most of us at home, we do not have all this situation. So naturally, we are making our workstation anywhere and everywhere possible. And more so, nobody is observing us. So I can sit anywhere at our luxury, at my own luxury, I can do. This is also not uncommon in a corporate sector. If you see in a corporate sector, in a person's workstation desk, you can see it is not proper. The computer desktop, computer CPU is keeping on the ground instead of the Kuradan. His legs are folded, his neck is extended, his elbow is not properly aligned, he has got no proper footrest, and you can see all this problem. If he wants to work in a relaxed posture, then he will be around he will be around 2.5 to 3 feet away from the computer, and this is not a proper viewing angle. So this is there everywhere. But you know, these are the things you can manage. You can manage your work from home, your work desk dimensions and the design at your work home also. But look at another situation. See, this is a problem of the two of the CISF personnel who are working in the IGI terminal in Delhi. When I have taken these photographs, I was told to delete it. But when I told them that why I have taken it, because you know, photograph is prohibited there, they allowed me to show it to the world possibly. One thing, they are sitting there, so this person, he is sitting in the chair. He has got no proper workstation. He has no space to for extending his knees or legs. He has his keyboard is placed much lower position. He has got no elbow support. His wrists are not keeping properly. He's sitting in an awkward posture, and what he is doing, these two persons, they are actually checking. They are actually checking the baggages when it passes through your X-ray machines. Well, this man still has got a chair and a desk on a workstation, but this person is standing and working there. When I ask them why you are doing so, he says it is very uncomfortable for me. I cannot working here properly, so I prefer to stand like that. But with our limited knowledge, with our minimal knowledge, with our sense of common senses, we know none of these workstations are proper, and nobody can give 100% of their efficiency while working on this. But what happened? If you work continuously in this kind of a situation, you develop, in this poor posture condition, you develop body pains. You know, body pain can develop. And the similar situation is occurring in our lockdown situation in home. You can have back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, wrist pain, hand pain, leg pain, knee pain, ankle pain, pimple anywhere in the body. But it is little bit away from the general myalgia of the body, the general body pain. You can have general body pain, and simultaneously you can have pain on different or specific regions of the body. And this pain sensation, it leads ultimately increases your workplace stress, or workplace stress ultimately leads into the pain on the different parts of the body. We call it as a repeated strain injury. It ultimately leads into a lost time, reduced productivity, poor health, low morale at higher cost, because you have to visit to a doctor to take care of all these things. So ultimately what happened, when you are imposed to work in a computer automated system for a long time, there occurs intense physical strain, pain, and ultimately it may lead to a musculoskeletal disorder, or why we call it as an MSDs. Now the intense physical strain and development of the pain and musculoskeletal disorders involve two of the important issues of the body system. One we call the biomechanical issues, another one is the physiological issues of development of this pain. Now I am going into a little bit of the, after introduction, a little bit about the mechanism, how it is happening, the development of the pain, and how you can develop the low back pain and the musculoskeletal disorders, as mentioned initially, Professor Dr. Ranu. Very much, ma'am. Now, biomechanics, you know, it is the mechanical application of mechanics into the different body joints and the biological system. We discuss here about the different body joints and bony joints of the body. Now, what happens, that biomechanical strain, what it is? The biomechanical strain on the human musculoskeletal system is primarily dependent on the posture adopted. specifically in this kind of situation when we are all in the lockdown situation and we are working from home. I repeat again, the biomechanical strain of the human musculoskeletal system is primarily dependent on the posture what you adopt. Okay, now posture adopted in the working environment is dependent on the relationship. Please be careful on the relationship between the individual's body dimensions and the dimensions of the various items in the workplace space. It is not only you are responsible for it, it is the dimensions of the various or the availability, the design of the various items available in the workspace. So posture determines the loading ultimately on your cervical neck region and lumbar sacral or lower back region of the spine. These are the main important issues of this. So what is a posture? How posture is taking place, and what if you are in an awkward posture, you are taking in a poor posture, how it is affecting your cervical neck and lumbosacral regions of the body, and how it is ultimately developing. Most of the people, especially the aged people, the middle-aged people, even the children these days are suffering during working from home, especially on the lumbosacral lower back and the neck region problem only. Now, this is the vertebral column or the spinal cord, if we say. Now, this spinal cord has got a specific structure. And this structure is that there are, this structure has the cervical region, there is, we call it is a cervical lordosis, that is the flexion, and the lumbar region or lumbosacral region we call it is a lumbar lordosis. The cervical and lumbar lordosis with the horizontal, this makes around 30 to 40 degree of the angle, and the thoracic we call it is another 30 or 40 degree angle, we call it is a thoracic kyphosis. Now this S-shaped curve of the spine is very, very important, and it has to be maintained properly to have a good posture, this S-shaped curve. Now what happens when you cannot walk continuously for throughout the day or 8 hours or even 1 hour or 2 hours continuously standing, maintain an S-shaped curve of the body. So we sit. When you work and sit, if you maintain your erect posture, then you can see that your sacral and the coccyx also bone, that is the tail, where is the tail portion also in a proper fashion, and it is almost not touching the base of the chair. And this is, we call is a 90-90 posture, 90 degree here, 90 degree in the pelvic region, 90 degree in the knee region, and 90 degree in the feet region. This is, we call the neutral sitting posture with correct pelvis position. If we can maintain it, there is not supposed to have any problem. But what happens even in a standing position, we can have sway posture, we can have lumbar lordosis, we can have thoracic kyphosis, that is a slumped or crouching posture, we have a forward lean or neck extended position. Hardly we can take a good posture and can stand properly. Now, I will now tell you about while you are sitting or what happens and how the biomechanics changes and it affects in the development of your back pain or the neck pain. Now you see when you are sitting, now this is the normal curve. If you sit erect, that is your cervical lordosis, lumbar lordosis is maintained, or the thoracic kyphosis. And you can see this is the portion that is where the coccyx and sacral portion where it is not touching the base of the sit. Now, if you do not sit properly, you sit in a slouch posture or slump posture or this kind of a posture and extending your neck, not this posture which is supposed to be. Now what happens, this entire spinal cord change into a bow-shaped structure. This bow-shaped structure which has got, that is the lumbar lordosis is totally gone and it becomes a lumbar flexion. In the cervical region also, the cervical lordosis is gone. In the cervical lordosis is gone and the top portion although a little bit of flexion is there, but mostly it is a bow-shaped structure. And what happens ultimately, this coccyx bone, or the sacral portion of the pelvic region mainly, which was in a proper sitting posture, it turns into, it is in this situation, and we call it is a sacral sitting position. In the sacral sitting position, if you sit, possibly you will agree with me that when you sit in a very hard surface or even a very soft surface, this coccyx bone starts paining, and several times the pressure point develops, and it is very difficult to get rid of this kind of a situation. So your entire body, upper body, which is about 50 to 60 kilo, it rests on your coccyx bone, and ultimately it starts giving pain. So what happens when person sits down in a slouched posture, as I told you, during this situation, which is we normally sit now, we are normally adopting this awkward posture, your hip and knee joint become flexed. Now, balance of the antagonistic muscle forces, which keeps the pelvis in an anterior tilt. This is in the posterior tilt. As I showed you, anterior tilt towards front side of the body, towards belly side of the body, changes into a posterior tilt. Okay? And to keep the head erect, the lumbar spine flexes to compensate, and the lumbar lordosis diminishes and eventually disappears as it happens totally. As a result, what happens? The increased disc compression and pain. What happens if the disc is like that? Means in a normal position, as you can see here, or it is like that, it now starts compressing in the frontal portion because it becomes bow-shaped. If this is there, then the intradiscal pressure starts increasing. When there is an increase in the intradiscal pressure happens, then there is a pain. Okay, there is a pain, and it starts paining because intradiscal pressure cannot be maintained for a long time. It's a higher pressure. And what happens if you see the entire nerve outcome, then you can see the cervical portion mainly, where there is a cervical 1 and 2 and 6 and 7 and 8. From their portion, all the nerves are coming out, and it is innervating your neck region, mainly your hand. And in the lumbar sacral regions, mainly the lumbar region, from where the lumbar nerves are coming out, they are supplying in the lower limbs and lower portions of the body. So when there is an increased intradiscal pressure, both in the cervical region and in the lumbar sacral region, if you remember, as I told you at the very beginning, these two positions, then there is development of the pain. The paraspinal muscles and other muscles, the major muscle groups of the latissimus dorsi and other muscle groups, or the abdominal muscle groups and the back muscle groups with the antagonistic and protagonist muscle fiber, there is an imbalance because of the poor posture, and it ultimately leads to the development of the pain because of mainly a compression which has taken place in your intervertebral region, and which ultimately compresses your nerve ending. So what happens? This is a portion of the lumbar region mainly. Now, how heavy is your head? This is the title. But ultimately what happens, you know, that I will tell you a little bit about how neck pain develops mostly on this condition and in any other condition. In normal position, when you stand erect and maintain an S-shaped curve, your neck is about 5 to 10 degree angle with the horizontal portion. Then its weight is actually, our head weight is around 5.5 kilo to 5 to 5.5 kilo. But what happens if you extend your neck for another 2 inches? It turns into 32 pounds or 15 kilo. If you stand more 2 and 3 inches, like a slouch posture as we are sitting and working, mostly our children and the youth, it turns into a 42 or 45 kilo. That means your head become 20 to 22 kilo. So unknowingly, you are carrying a load of 20 or 22 kilo for a long period of time over your head. And it causes a problem in the sternocleidomastoid, upper trapezius muscles, other muscle groups of the body. it leads into an occipital nerve compression because of the rounded shoulder and deep cervical neck flexion and inhibition neck compression, and ultimately it leads into painful sensation, pain sensation of the upper neck of the body and the neck regions of the body. We can tell it in any name you can give it, spondylitis or so, but that is a disease condition. Before that, you can develop all sorts of things that has to be avoided. So it is suggested that you should try to maintain as much of this position of the body, not to this position, because then your head weight ultimately increases to a great extent. And in order to maintain the head weight, body tries to, the entire body muscle or the back muscle or the neck muscle tries to go back to maintain the center of gravity of the body. And when in order to do so, there is an increased generation of the forces. And increased generation of forces ultimately lead to the precipitation of the neck pain and the lower back and the back pain. I am showing you another example. You can see this kind of posture to all of us, our children mostly working like that. And in one hand, the phone is their mobile phone. And while they're using the mobile phone is also again not more than 6 to 8 inches away, which is again affecting your eyes. But that is a secondary issue. The first issue is you are increasing, the forces are increasing on their neck region. If you increase it to the 60-degree angle of your neck, if you bend to a great extent, which they are doing either in a standing condition or in their sitting condition or in the sleeping condition, on the lying down on the floor also, it increased to 30 kg or more. So knowingly or unknowingly, you are increasing and straining your neck muscle, and ultimately which leads into the development of the pain on all these regions of the body. And for that, we cannot blame to anybody. We have to blame to ourselves. Okay. Now this is a little bit of the biomechanics. Now come back into the physiological issues. The prolonged static posture ultimately leads to the muscle fatigue, muscle imbalances that we know, we have already discussed. But if you sit continuously for a long time in the chair and sit, that you can, you also feel, and if you do not move up and go around, you feel that there is a muscle ischemia occurs, there can be a necrosis, there can be development of the trigger points, and there is a muscle substitution. And ultimately what happens, you know, when there is no movement of your leg, you are maintaining a static posture for a long time, there is all the blood circulation is not coming back. The blood is accumulated in the lower limb. Ultimately, there can be swelling, and there can be for the release of the pain, kinins and other things, the metabolites, there can be a pain sensation, and there will be a protective muscle contraction. And along with this, there is a joint hypomobility, nerve compression, spinal degeneration, and musculoskeletal disorder. But this is a physiological mechanism that is ultimately, this can be avoided to a great extent. Now, what happened ultimately? I may be a little fast because I have so many slides to show you. The most important thing is that when you are working continuously in a sitting posture, we do not know what is happening to your body. It may develop upper back, lower back, muscle cramps, shoulder and elbow pain, wrist and hand discomfort, and ultimately eye strain, burning eyes, or anything can happen. Okay, so in order to avoid this thing, or what are the actually risk factors in developing this problem? Now we know the mechanism, but let it analyze it in a little better way, in a critical way. The most important factor of developing this awkward posture, because as I mentioned you earlier also, your posture doesn't depend on how you are sitting, your body dimension. It depends on what is the dimensions of the items or the furniture or the facilities available in your workstation or workspace. The most important part is your desk and the chair. In your work from home, while you are working, if you do not have a proper desk or chair, then you will have a lot of problem. Try to have a desk or chair, okay? And the desk height should be that it should be at the elbow height level when the elbow is at 90 degree, okay? That I will show you a little later. The elbow height should be at the 90 degree with the vertical angle of your body or horizon. And then chair height, and if the desk now it is available, that height adjustable desk are there available, but if it is not also very costly, and you can develop it within yourself also. So it has to be, the desk should be at the elbow height level or little bit 1 or 2 inch lower than this. The chair, if you have got a height adjustable and reclining chair, there is nothing like that. But the chair height should be maintained in such a way so that when you sit it properly, your feet should touch the floor and your knee should maintain a 90 degree angle. Okay, your knee should maintain a 90 degree angle with the seat, and your posture, you should sit in an erect posture. So desk and chair height should be like that. Next is your monitor and laptop. Monitor should be 18, or laptop screen should be 18 to 20 inch away, and the height, the upper edge of the monitor should be at the height of your eyes, and it should not be much away. It should be 18 to 20 inch away, but it should not be more further. It should not be near, because it causes a problem. Because the screen should make around 20 to 30 degree angle on your eye so that the display can be seen properly. Okay, then there will be no problem, and your neck you can maintain in a proper 15 to 20 degree, 5 to 10 degree angle. Then the question comes where you can key the keyboard and the mouse. These two causes a lot of problem. The keyboard should be again on the keyboard tray. Nowadays we are not using keyboard tray. It can be kept on the desk or on the table, but again, if there should be a 90 degree angle, it should maintain a 90 degree angle with your elbow. The question comes again that how I will use the laptop? While you will be using a laptop, there is a laptop keyboard holder is there. Try to use laptop in this way, or you use the laptop for using the laptop properly. Use some of the books and so that laptop screen should be at that high, and use a separate keyboard. If not, use the laptop keyboard in an angular way so that the display screen should be at your eye height and you can use it properly. That I will show you how you can do it subsequently. The mouse also should be at the keyboard height level, but don't try to use it mouse continuously in a static hand posture. How you should not, while using the mouse, you should be very, very careful that there should not be ulnar deviation or the radial deviation. There should not be any pronation or supination of your wrist. It should be as far as possible with the 0 degree or maintaining a 90 degree within a vertical alignment with the alignment of your arms, so that it should be with the it should align properly with your arms, so that there should not be a problem. It should not be like, it should not be this. Then you may develop a lot of wrist problem. Ultimately, it leads to an carpal tunnel syndrome, which is a very, very painful problem for everybody. Footrest, if you require, you can use it. As I mentioned, feet should be properly on the ground. Then there is no issue of using footrest. But the main problem is posture. You should maintain a posture as long as possible. In the posture I am showing you in the screen, it is a 90 degree angle posture. But the most important issue along with this is the duration of use. How long you are using it continuously. My advice, and everybody using 20 minutes work, 20 minutes you don't work, and close your eyes, see at a distance of 20 feet. There are 30 suggest also. But my suggestion is, as long as you can work 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 35 minutes, you work. But then you get up, go away, or sit there on your, go away, move around little bit and come back again after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, as long as you can do not feel bored or you do not feel monotonous. Because you see other visual cues, you give a rest to your eyes. If possible, keep your eyes closed. But don't rub your eyes, because it gives a lot of other, it develops some other problem on the eyes. So and what happens, when you move around, when you are not seeing in the computer screen, or you are not touching the mouse or the keyboard, you are changing your posture. So as long as you are changing your posture, your blood circulation circulation becomes normal, your muscle balance becomes normal, and your stress is also relieved to a great extent. So stress relief is a very important issue in relation to your job demand. But be careful, you should not work in a limited space, in a confined space, and there should be adequate proper spaces wherever you are working around yourself, so that you can change your posture, you can move freely with your limbs, with your head, with your neck, and everything possible of your body. Therefore, posture is the key of the biomechanics. And in doing so, what are the things I should tell you is that you have to maintain the S-shaped curve of the body. The S-shaped curve of the body, the maintenance is a big issue. And while you are standing, you can keep your one leg on any support, of you can put your whole body support on your desk and other thing. But when you are sitting also, you must see that your back is supported properly, so that lumbar lordosis is maintained. If there is a change, if your work posture is not properly maintained, then the disc pressure increases to a great extent. If it is 100% proper in standing position, you can see while you are lying it is low, but as you are working standing with bend, or sitting erect, or sitting with forward bend, then it increases to a great extent. It can be double than what you were standing, and all these conditions are bad. So putting it all together, what should be your workspace dimension, or how you should work properly? It is a very, very good thing, very important thing, and that I will show you. The first of your neck should be straight as long as possible. Your shoulder should be relaxed. It should not be hunched, or it should not be, your elbows should be at sides, and it should not be winged. Most of the time we work in a winged posture, that is the elbow goes like that, and with a raised shoulder. Unknowingly, we are creating a stress on this part of the body, and ultimately after some time of work, it causes problem. The back should be with a curve, that is the lordosis should be maintained. These should be in a neutral position, and no pressure point should develop. If you change your position, you will find the no pressure points are developed, and there should be adequate space for movement of your lower limb, and then we call it the knee space should be there. Most importantly, the top of the screen should be at your eye height level. The screen should be straight ahead, and copy holder if possible. Keyboard should be at the elbow height, a little bit lower. Mouse by keypad should be there, and wrist should be straight. As I told you, there should not be any pronation, there should not be any supination of the structure, and ultimately foot rest, if required, it has to be used. But as I told you, you should not sit and continuously work in any posture, whether it is lying on the sofa, sitting on a bed, or anywhere. The main question is, again, I am showing you 4 different postures. Sitting posture 3, and one is standing. This is a standing posture. This is an upright sitting posture, as I mentioned, 90, 90, and 90 degree angle. And this is, we call it as a declined sitting posture. And this is an reclined sitting posture. We always prefer to be in the reclined sitting posture. Declined sitting, usually we do not prefer, because our whole body weight is supported and center of gravity, there is a problem. We find always that as if we are moving forward. So either but can you tell me which one is the best? It is very difficult to say which one is the best. Everybody would say, oh, upright sitting posture is best. But nowadays, the concept has changed extensively by extensive use of and the research on the biomechanics and ergonomics. And it says that all these different postures provide neutral body positioning. A neutral positioning is one in which the joints are naturally aligned. This reduces stress and strain on the muscle, tendons, and skeletal system. And it says that it is recommended that you change your position regularly. And that is the best way to maintain your posture. You can lie down, you can sit on the sofa, but you see that you change your posture. No posture continuously, you should maintain for an indefinite period of time, or as long as you try to avoid it, but try to keep your lumbar, whenever you are sitting on the bed or you on the sofa, see that your spinal cord is properly maintained in an S-shaped curve. So the consideration is that, remember the shift and change. Okay, so this is the biomechanics part and the bioergonomics part also. But at the very beginning, Dr. Anu Prasad also said about the red eye, dry eye syndrome. Yes, we are working continuously. And while working continuously on the eye, our human interface is that the computer screen and the eyes only. And most of the time we are using headphone or the earphone. So your communication is the visual communication only. But if you work continuously with the screen, other than the light problem, the radiation problem, there occurs is there that your eye blinking is totally gone. You know, we blink normally 12 to 14 times per minute. It is a protective phenomenon, and it helps us because it lubricates our front portion of the eye, that is the cornea and sclera. And this is very, very much required, because when you are working in the screen, if you forget, you are so imposed, you are so concentrated, so much concentrated on the screen, and you are sometimes so stressed, you forget to blink. While you are not blinking properly, it starts reddening, it's starting burning eyes, it may be watery eyes, it may be swollen, and ultimately pain develops. The very important part is that try not use that water, but do not splash it. Do not use splashing water, and do not throw your water on your eyes. It is not a good symptom. Use water just to moist it properly, or use some of the gel, or if the problem is more, then you go to a doctor and see to a doctor. But try and teach your children that they should blink. They should blink, because if you do not blink properly, if your pupil diameter is much more than the normal, then there is an increase of sympathetic nervous system, that is the autonomic nervous system, and it says there is a more secretion of adrenaline. Ultimately, it affects the whole body hormonal balance also, but this is a different issue. Okay, so very importantly, you must take care of the eyes. Workplace should be properly and adequately lighted. There should be lighted, doesn't mean there should be glare on all other things. Very importantly, you should, at the very beginning of the day, for everybody is there, try to make it, while you are living in the lockdown situation, try to make it a normal working day other than Saturday and Sundays or the other holidays, so that you maintain a work schedule, and particularly the student, teachers, the working people maintain a work schedule. Decide at the very beginning of the day what you have to do it, what are the work you have to do it, then you can maintain it properly. If you maintain it properly, you will have proper work rest cycle and sleep. So if you can maintain a work rest cycle and the sleep properly, there will be no problem. We will all join together and we'll overcome this COVID-19 situation. Very importantly, whenever you are working, even your children, after classes of 30 minutes or so, or in between, we all suggest that take a stretch break or micro break. What is the stretch break and micro break is there, that sitting on your chair and table chair itself, or sitting on the bed, you can do many of this type of exercise. You need not to go to a gym. You can just change your body posture by doing all these kind of exercises and many more, which are available at enough number in the internet. I have downloaded it also. You can download it also, but we can practice it. During International Ergonomics Conference in 2018 in Florence, Italy, in every lecture, after every keynote lecture of 45-minute duration, there was a 5-minute stretch break. And during stretch break, there was a physiotherapist. He and she was conducting the stretch break exercises to every audiences. And we found it is very, very beneficial for us. Those who are doing exercises, do it. Don't discontinue it at your home. If nowadays we are all doing some amount of yoga or any kind of yogic exercises is possible, you practice it, because do some meditation, so it gives a lot of relaxation to your body. You know, yoga and helps you in doing more of static exercises, but the static exercises also maintains the body dynamics and also your blood circulation, and it helps you in the cleansing of your respiratory and cardiovascular system. Very importantly, you should maintain your nutrition and food habit and food what you are doing. It is very, very important, because these days other OPDs and the major hospitals are not functioning. All the doctors are not taking at any number of patients. So you should not have any kind of problem, so that your digestive system, if you can maintain your digestive system, you can maintain, you can maintain your thermodynamics and body mechanism without any problem. We should restrict to using our mobile and TV use as much as possible. Try to reduce its use, because use of TV and seeing TV and mobile joined together, you should maintain a time frame. Try to give rest to your audio and visual system and your body. Take rest. Discuss with your family member whatever is happening. Increase your communication, so that we can share our problem and we can overcome this kind of a situation. But I have noticed one thing, that because of this family resource management problem, who is more affected during lockdown? This is my last slide before leaving. I should share with you. I found, and whole world community also agrees. I have shared this with my friends all over the world, and they found that housewives, their work has increased a lot. Maids are not there, and all members, all children to husband to everybody is at home. Next is working women. In the line of increasing problem, working women with spouse without any children. Spouse is giving a lot of problem, a lot of instructions. You do this thing, their food. Both working women, she has to maintain her own work and take care of the spouse also. And the second thing is, third one is working women with spouse and children. You have to take care the working women not only with the spouse, but with the children, their homework, their online work, with the education, with the teacher, with the schools and everything. So it has added to her own work. As long as she was in the office or she was in a workplace, she could avoid this kind of situation. But the most important problem is those who are working women with spouse, children, and in-laws or other dependent family members. Their workload has increased to a great extent. So in that regard, I should show you this slide. That's why. So you are doing everything. The working women or the housewife, you are taking care of the entire family life, and you are keeping us united. You are giving us moral support. So I should I have a deep regards for them, because they are maintaining the whole society. So it is a great regards to them. And with these words, I should end my lecture, but I would like to show you this slide. This is a truck carrying, for how much load it was designed and devised, we do not know. It is somewhere in the sub-Sahara desert, that because there is availability of the vehicle and all is not much, and they are very poor. And you can see that it is loaded with as much load as possible other than baggages. There is how many members are there, that is the human are there, nobody knows. So our problem is like that, is also that, but this truck is moving. So we are also moving. Anyhow, and whatever may be the problem, we'll overcome it, but try to maintain your S-shaped curve so that you can have a good life, good physical life. And in order to see it properly, to coping up with the situation, I would advise you should putting on your ergonomics glasses so that you can visualize the issues properly. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with proper posture, time, and tools adopted for maximizing our work, either from home or at workplace. Sir, there were a few questions which were coming to us, but very interestingly, you have already addressed those questions in your talk.
Yes. Yes.
So we are very, very thankful to you, sir, for such an informative talk and helping all of us. I am sure that all the participants have been deeply and greatly benefited by your ideas and your talk. So once again, thank you very much, sir, for being with us and sparing your time for benefiting us and all the participants who have joined us today. Now, from physical stress, we will move towards how mind is deciphering the present situation and what it should be. And for that, we are very delighted to have Dr. Alok Bajpai with us. Dr. Bajpai is a psychiatrist trained at NIMHANS, Bangalore, presently working at Kanpur after few stints abroad. Apart from practicing psychiatry, a consistent focus of his work is with children, adolescents, and youth. Being associated with various institutes and schools, his work extends beyond the confines of his clinic into freelancing teaching of mental health issues and life skills. Psychiatry, physics, film, music, literature, and teaching are only some of the things that occupies Dr. Bajpai's wide world. He has been instrumental in putting together many awareness campaigns and workshops, especially with schools, and has trained teachers aiming at increasing sensitivity towards childhood problems in many Indian cities. These interactions are directed especially to the process of critical thinking as an attempt of brain training to help the young minds evolve and evaluate their own ideologies. He is also a regular columnist who writes about the issues of mental health and socio-politics of life. One special passion with Dr. Bajpai is transformational process of the mind to enhance inner harmony and peace, as Mahatma Gandhi remains his leitmotif and life example. He is a curator of an interactive program, An Hour with Mahatma, focusing on the transformative skills of Mahatma Gandhi. He is engaged in interdisciplinary research at IIT and has few publications in scientific reports exploring brain processes. His MOOC course on NPTEL, Psychiatry, an Overview, and How the Brain Creates Mind are popular. Today, Dr. Bajpai will talk about the mind in Corona times. We welcome you, Dr. Bajpai.
Thank you, Dr. Anshu. After Professor Majumdar's comprehensive lecture, it was actually sitting in a classroom. Trust me, it had a lot of psychological underpinnings also. So half my job is done. But nevertheless, I should thank you all. And please, all of you, John, Dr. Ishman, Dr. Lawrence, Nisha, Anjali, all of you, please take it as your personal thank you. I would not waste time in getting around. All right, it's wonderful to be, I have been to the university a couple of times to interact with people. It's always a pleasure. And thanks to Professor Majumdar for your, actually I was trying to get out after 20 minutes, but your lecture was very, very engrossing. So I sat for 45 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. Right, so let me read out something. Anshu, is English preferred or Hindi or Hindustani or for the audience?
Sir, I think it would be nice if we can preferably use English because we have participants from all across the world.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. This was Charles Dickens writing in A Tale of Two Cities. And trust me, this still rings true. If you look back into the history, a lot of great literature, a lot of great poetry, a lot of cinema maybe has come out in the worst time of crisis. The last pandemic was 100 years back, but the human history knows that every 100 and 200 years, we keep having these pandemics and epidemics. And when there is no epidemic or pandemic, we create a war. This time we are trying to do it together. The war and everything. And nature is also obliging us by sending us cyclones and earthquakes and whatever is possible. So, I mean, it's a huge time of chaos. But the good thing is that we are all alive. And as Dr. Richmond said, isn't it a good time to be all here together, alive, talking? So it is a good time and it's a bad time. Now, apart from other things which have come up in the last 3 months, right from economic instability to the problem of being locked down, what Professor Majumdar was just mentioning, and the physical problems, the illnesses, the bureaucratic and the political, and I mean, it's like all lids have opened up. We are not used to handling so many things. We human beings think that we are all multitaskers, but if we go into the physics of the brain actually cannot multitask. Even if it is appearing to do multiple things in a very, very subtle instance of time, it is actually doing one thing. So, but right now we're trying to handle too many things. And then you have newspapers, you have television, and so it's all blown up now, actually. So the one thing which has come up where everybody is getting concerned and worried is about the mental health. And obviously added to that a number of suicides, and the celebrity suicide of Sushant Singh Rajput really got the things into a different mind state. I will not be very pedantic and I am not going to teach you what depression and suicide is, but let me tell you in the next 10-15 minutes, and I'll try to leave 10 minutes for the questions. What was actually happening? If you, for a moment, forget the mental health and all that, and if you just look back, mental health, depression, suicide, illnesses were always there even before the COVID started, even before the lockdown started. You look back, what actually happened was much larger. For most people, and I would boldly claim 99% of people, getting up in the morning, engaging in the external world, engaging in your daily routine was the way of life. Work. You get up, you go to work, there are crises, there are problems, little problems at home, work, the world. Depends on where are you placed. That external world suddenly stopped. One fine day, it just stopped. So that input which was coming from the external world suddenly changed its format. What was coming was COVID news, and COVID news. Lockdown, people losing job, migrants, and so on and so forth, which you all know. So what happened is suddenly the external world became a vacuum. People got up, they had nowhere to go, no given goal in the day. And it took people some time to get to work schedules and all, which are still not normalized. Everybody had this inner anxiety, which is always there in human beings. Human mind is made in such a way, it has evolved in such a way that there is always a baseline anxiety of extinction, the insecurity, the fear of elimination, of death, of losing things. That anxiety doesn't come to your conscious mind because all the time you are engaged in external world and the inner anxiety is largely controlled. what happened is that suddenly this anxiety came up for everybody. Children didn't know what to do. People who were getting admissions didn't know. So schools responded by getting into online classes. Uh, and then as anxiety increased, some people who already had psychiatric illnesses like depression or psychosis, or their illness actually got precipitated. For the rest of them, it was not a precipitation. It was like a new feelings. So insomnia, lack of physical activity, I mean, everything got bundled up together. So now when people talk of mental health and suicide and all that, let me tell you, this is nothing new. It has got nothing to do with COVID. The COVID virus is here to stay. No virus which has taken shape on the earth has ever vanished. Human beings are here to stay. Unless something comes and which wipes off the whole humanity, COVID is not that virus. So please be sure. Now, some people obviously will fall ill, some people will die, but then there are 1,000 other reasons by which people die. We normally don't pay attention to it. When was the last time when you looked really into the paper that how many people in India have died in an accident? How many people have died with encephalitis? So what I'm trying to say that we do not know how to treat it yet. We adopted a mechanism of lockdown and masks and social distancing, which is a primitive thing, which was happening 100 years back also. 1918, the Spanish flu, this was the way. So now this existential crisis came in suddenly. The other existential crisis which came in was most people who were suddenly out of job, except doctors, teachers, who became important? Your sabziwala, the man who supplied bread, the sweepers, your maid, they became important. For 70-80% people, their job, they did not know what were they doing all their life. Because in the moment of crisis, their job is not being counted. All these things in the first month created a hell lot of anxiety. That is weaning off now. Life is getting back to normal. People are trying back to find the meaning. And I'm sure in next 6 months, things will be all right. New things have come up, online teaching, online counseling. People keep calling me for whether you can take online counseling. I put my number on the Facebook and I said, please don't die here. At least talk to me first. If I can save you at all. I'm not God, but I can try. But suddenly I saw that there are so many psychologists who have sprung up. Everybody was offering a shoulder to the other person. This was also a new phenomenon. I understand that everybody can offer shoulder to somebody, but when you are dealing with somebody who is suicidal, you should have the adequate training and adequate emotional strength to handle that. So without being critical, my bottom line of the whole thing is, in the last 3 months, a lot of things have entered the head, which may have been relevant or irrelevant to the person. And that has created a huge lot of cognitive chaos in the heads. Human mind is like the slide which Dr. Majumdar showed, that tractor was not meant to handle that much load. Your mind is also not meant to handle that much load. So people could not differentiate because of the fear. And this fear was being perpetrated by television and newspaper. They did not know what was relevant to them and what was irrelevant. Add to that lack of physical activity, lack of routine, people stuck together. People need break from each other. All the time, if I stuck 24 hours, am I audible clearly? Yeah, okay. So all of you who are here, who are happily married, would know that if husband and wife are stuck together 24/7 for three months. Wow, man. Children, all the time parents hovering over their head. Rest of the time, teachers on the online. So nobody knew what was happening. That has really blown off the lid. So larger threat to mental health across the world has been fear, has been inability to handle too many things, inability to really justify what you were doing. These things will get normalized over time. People just have to have patience. Now with a small group, what happened? that we all are genetically linked. 99% genes are common. And so are the genes which cause illnesses. All of us have gene for depression. All of us have gene for schizophrenia. All of us have gene for anxiety, phobia, OCD. For some people, it got triggered and they were on treatment. Their symptoms got exacerbated. For some people, the stress was enough to actually, what do we call demethylation, the methylation of gene, which just triggers on the genes. For some people, it was a triggering of and precipitation of illness. So all sorts of phenomena were happening. Now, having said this, there are people, in normal circumstances, about 10% of depressive patients commit suicide. 10% of all psychiatric patients commit suicide. The individual case where somebody commits suicide or is impulsive and all always keeps happening. The number of suicides, no doubt, has gone up. But that is because I see a deeper malaise in this. The deeper malaise is, it means India, which always claimed to be a very, very spiritual country, and we who have resources in our ancient times, we have resources in our scriptures, we have resources in our religion, we have resources in our coherent families of a shared sacrificing life. We got so perturbed that we forgot all our resources. We could not go back and bank on those things. It was not the fault of those things. It was not a fault of religion or God or the scriptures. They never lacked that. It simply meant in the moment of crisis, we never fall back on them. Why? Because I think the education system from school onwards does not teach people how to believe in yourself, how to really introspect, how to really find out your resources within. That is something, a big lesson, which if at all people have to learn anything from these 3 months, I think it will be just one thing, that please do not teach people to run after success and material things. That they anyway will do. We are in a life where we cannot go back to jungle. We are in a life where we cannot go back to living like Mahatma Gandhi, however I may love him. We can't go back. We are so dependent on, and it's an interdependent world with the technology, with electricity, with everything. But our inner resources are the ones which will help you in crisis. The school should seriously think, instead of teaching syllabus and trying to complete syllabus, create a space in your school. Even the universities can create. Some of us will be very willing to help you out with all that. Don't teach them pantheons. Teach them subject, that is the skill set. With the skill set, they will earn their bread and butter. What I'm trying to tell you is that please teach people how to hold on, how to behave like human beings, how to really, in the time of crisis, step out of yourself and really connect with people, which people don't do. They may have a complaint with the world, but to step out of oneself and really connect with people is an entirely difficult thing. And then when the crisis happens, you're looking for psychiatrists and psychologists who also are from the same setup. See, try to understand, any psychologist or psychiatrist who is telling you may be good at telling you the skill, but to practicing those skills, this is the time when education system should be transformed. And I'm not telling you as an educationist or anything. I'm telling you as a mental health profession, because all the things which are being taught to human beings, whether you take it from tradition, whether you take it from religion, or you take it from quantum physics, or you take it from science, should boil down to teaching human beings how to hold on. That patience which is required in the moment of crisis. So this anxiety, which is arising out of this plethora of information which is getting, what do you have to do in any case of anxiety? Anxiety is a temporary state of mind. It will come and go. If you do not do anything, even then it will go off. It's a temporary mental state. only 10% of people will have a sustained anxiety state. Now, anxieties can arise out of depression, it can arise out of phobias, it can arise out of... So if you are feeling that you are having anxiety which is sustained, which is causing biological symptoms like lack of sleep, appetite, you're getting suicidal ideas, obviously then you have to go and see the nearest psychiatrist or psychologist. There's no doubt about it. Go take medicines, you'll be all right. But what happens to the anxiety? This anxiety is coming from that inner uncertainty. Human mind is always working towards wanting to be in control and certain about things. The problem is when uncertainty comes, we really don't know how to respond to it. That, if you ask me how to really handle anxiety, I mean, it's a training. It's an absolutely training. If you're not trained, you're not trained, simply. Use each episode of anxiety to train your mind. Use each episode of anxiety, the thoughts, the everything which are happening in your head, to hold on and to settle down. Wait for it to go. Sometimes you may need a pill. You do yoga, meditation, exercise, kung fu, sports, whatever. Distract your mind from that anxiety. Because I'll tell you the bottom line of treatment. Bottom line of treatment, the problem is that people try to control anxiety. When you try to control anxiety, you put your attention span to that anxiety and the whole thing blows up. Now, if I tell you, okay, ignore, I mean, it's a very, you can understand intellectually what ignoring means, but when it is happening, you're not ignoring it. So what I'm trying to tell you, that in such times, for those who are not totally psychiatrically ill, and trust me, only 10 to 15% people are having biological psychiatric illness. 85% people are having problems of living. These problems of living in times of crisis can cause anxiety, depression. But each mood upset, one evening you're upset, one evening you're apprehensive, you're all right next day, that do not label them as anxiety or depression. They are normal mood swings. What I'm trying to say is that please focus on, so what Dr. Majumdar said, do it. Make a schedule, keep yourself busy. If you have work, fine. Otherwise, if you don't have work right now, you have a lot of time, read books, watch cinema, do things which you have left. Get out of your cocoon, indulge in the world. If you get anxious, if it is for a short time, 1 hour, 2 hour, evening, that's all right. Tolerate it. Be with somebody with whom you can spend time. Distract your mind. Although, if it continues beyond a certain point of time, then you have to consult a doctor, for which the doctors can give you a pill. I want to, if you can ask me some questions in next 5-10 minutes, if it is permissible, because that will make it easier for me to respond. I don't want to really go on with all this. But let me end with one thing. Each mind who is not in a state of psychosis or biological depression or biological anxiety has the inner capacity to sustain it. And obviously you would have sustained anxiety many times. Still you're sitting here and we are talking. Everybody has, I have. I'm in the... This anxiety is originating from the larger sociopolitics. Let us stop labeling every mood swing as clinical anxiety or clinical depression. They are very, very specific, defined states of mind, which require treatment. For you to judge that is very simple. If something is sustained, it's not going out away in hours, or if they are severe enough to cause some damage to you or to others, then you immediately consult a doctor or a psychologist. And rest of it is just learn to take it in a stride, because there will be anxieties. Uncertainty will bring in anxieties, jobs and education and children. So why, how many of you really, when you are happy, do you want to change that mental state? I'm sure none of you. Do you ever go to God and say, God, I'm happy, please take away my happiness? So you are happy with your happiness, but when you become sad, you don't want to tolerate sadness. You don't want to tolerate your fearfulness. That you want immediate improvement. Why don't we understand that there are basic human emotions. Sadness is one of them. Anxiety is the complex emotion. Rage is an emotion. It's all right. It's all right to be emotional. It's all right to go through that. Mind will change itself. If you don't do anything, mind will automatically adjust, barring a couple of people. The problem is that we in our modern times have never been taught to handle emotions. Being emotional has always been bad. You're an emotional fool. Why are you emotional? Why are you crying? This has been the worst enemy of human mind. People should understand that what is important is that, like thoughts, emotions are real. And when we talk about the rational thinking and thinking, it is all laced with emotion because the brain is largely unconscious processing. It processes, it throws the whole thing to the conscious mind. And by the time you think, the emotions have already laced it. Learn to harmonize between emotions and thought. Rather than suppressing emotion and trying to be rational and logical, which is a fallacy by physics of brain. I mean, I'm not saying it. I can, someday when you want to discuss, we can do that. So unless you learn to accept, it's all right to be sad. It's all right to feel lust. It's all right to feel anger. It's all right. Take care that you don't step out and disturb somebody else. Half the time, we are not handling our emotions and we are trying to throw it onto others. If you learn to accept and acknowledge, it will come and go. Trust me, that is how it happens. But again, I said this is a training. I will end with again Charles Dickens. Why was he saying it was a good time and bad time? Why was he saying it was the age of hope and despair, of light and darkness, of faith and credulity? Because it will all depend on how you have used this crisis. If you have not learned to channelize it, if you have not learned to sustain it, if you have not increased your patience and moved on, obviously you'll land up in the same state. And I can bet on this. You ask a psychiatrist, India's mental health was already in doldrums even before COVID happened. It was a war for every day for us. There's a wave of people, you set them right, another wave, education system, health system, as if we were living in a perpetual chaos. So please use this time. You have all the time on the earth to sit back and think. I'm always there to help out. My number is with Dr. Anshu, and I can repeat it if you want. It is 98-390-27402. So please use it freely. WhatsApp me and we'll be free. So I'll end it here. I mean, this thing can take a lot of time, but let me end it here. If I can take a couple of questions or whatever you say, people can ask me later on my WhatsApp. Thank you, Dr. Anshu.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Bajpayee, for such an enlightening and important talk that you have given and shared your views. I think it has helped many of us to think and rethink that we've been thinking, and it is going to benefit each one of us in how we are going to change our perspectives towards the corona times.
Yeah, Anshuka, you can share my number with people and they can do a WhatsApp and whatever.
Surely, sir. We'll be doing it,
Yes,
but
yes.
there are a few questions.
Yeah, please.
That I would like to.
Yeah, can you read it out?
Ask you. Yes. Many of the students have asked that during the lockdown, maximum classes are going on online. And they have a lot of work which they have to do from home. And other than that, they do not have any structured work. So they are facing a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression kind of a feeling. They feel very low, which they are, framing as depression. So they are asking how to deal with that.
Yeah. See, I understand the worst hit has been students. I have advised, actually, if you go lower down, I have advised few schools to not to teach students till class 5th. Anyway, that was my stance even before COVID. Why do you teach kids till class 5th? Show them architecture, show them monuments, show them seasons, show them soil, show them the grains, and show them the world. When they cognitively mature by 9, 10 years, then you teach them. But anyway, schools get very angry with me when I say this. People still get angry, but I do not hesitate from saying it because that is what I think is science. Online teaching is not the teaching. First, it is a stopgap arrangement. One. Second, we were doing online teaching from way back in a platform called NPTEL, which is the government's platform from SWAYAM, from IITs and IISc. We have recorded 10-hour courses, 20-hour courses, 40-hour courses. And the students who do not have access to IIT and IISc, they were reading it. But they were by the site. Let me give you an example. One of the engineering colleges wanted to run one of my courses as an elective course in the BTech. So what I advised them that you please don't teach kids. You run it in the classroom, but let the teacher be there. All right. So do it in the classroom. So maybe you are teaching or I am teaching on the screen, doesn't matter. So there is a difference between the online teaching which is happening in the virtual classroom. Please understand. Virtual classrooms are where there is a classroom going on and that whole classroom is being projected on the screen. So everybody who is on the screen actually interacts. Online classes is just one-way stuff. So my suggestion to all education is, a lot of you are here and you would be knowing schools and all, that please curtail it. Cut down the syllabus, have 20-25 minute classes, and instead of a pedagogy of teaching like you teach in the class, make it a more interactive session if possible, one, or give them readings, give them more space to think, and so that they can give their own inputs on email or whatever. Now, students are uncertain because half of them don't know where it is going. It will be a 0 year, whether they'll get admission or not. So they are young people, they can understand it. Anyway, they don't pay attention in the classroom beyond 20 minutes. Why are they getting anxious on online? Now, I know why they're getting anxious. Because there will be a mother and father will be standing on their head, ki pad nahi rahe ho. If pad nahi rahe ho, Bharat mein is a big problem. So, but students are mature. They should use their brain on what they are doing. My suggestion to them is very simple. Have a routine. If there is online teaching going on, please focus on one day at a time. When you get up the next day, live. There are times when you can live for future. There are times when you have to live one day. Live one day at a time. Have enough entertainment. Have enough physical activity. Eat well. Anyway, you will chat on your mobiles because what was banned is now in your hands. You will play games. You will do all this. So don't get into too much of planning and all. Just focus. At the end of the day, you should answer yourself one question, whether the day was productive or not. Nothing to be anxious about. If you are alive and kicking, there will be a next day. So there will be a next year. I hope, just try doing this. If it works, wonderful. Otherwise, get back to me. I'll tell you some other trick. Don't take all my tricks today. Yeah. Anshu, anything else?
Thank you very much, Doctor, for helping us and helping all the viewers and participants. Hope each one of us are benefited equally and are going to use the techniques that you have suggested us.
Yes.
We are going to take it seriously and move ahead in life because that's the most important thing that the show must go on.
I will part from here because I have patients waiting. Just let me tell you one sentence. This is for everybody. Please take your work seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Be happy, man. Everything is fine. Nothing is world. Even if human race is not there, the earth will keep rotating and revolving. So, sun will come every day. Nothing is going to change. You play the game. If you have played cricket, you know the cricket is about one ball at a time. Just focus on that ball. Everything will be okay. All right, Anshu, thank you very much. Please share my number. Ask kids and anybody to contact me freely. And have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir. So we move ahead in the same direction. We have another doctor with us, and she also going to talk about the mental health, that too in the current scenario. Dr. Shilpa Trivedi is a psychologist, and she has attained PhD in this field. She's a very committed, sincere, and dedicated worker. She has volunteered herself in very many organizations to work for the same cause. Dr. Shilpa is here to talk with us about how we can keep our mental health in the present scenario. I welcome Dr. Shilpa to share her views in this forum. Dr. Shilpa Trivedi. Over to you, Dr. Trivedi. Dr. Trivedi, I think you have to unmute your system. You're not audible.
My mic is on already. Hello, is it audible now?
Yes, Dr. Trivedi. Now we can hear you.
Okay. And now? Is it audible now?
Yes, Dr. Trivedi.
Okay. Okay, let me start. I share my screen. Actually, these things, whatever I had to, talk mental health is the same thing. So what I had to share, what I had to say, it is already, Mr. Dr. Bajpayee has already explained a lot of it. And I'll just concise it a little subjectively and through my slideshow. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Dr. Trivedi.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So today's topic is actually Sir has already,
Dr.
said a lot
Shilpa,
about it. The topic
can you take it in the presentation mode, please? Thank you.
is it there now?
Yes.
Okay. So it says restoration of mental health and how to cope up in the current scenario. We all know what is going on. First, I would like to, pay a little heed to what is the definition exactly of mental health. According to WHO, mental health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make contribution to his or her community. Now, all these are included in the mental health. So stress happens to everyone's life. Until the time we are able to deal with it normally, and it does not hamper our day-to-day life, like we are following a routine well, eating nicely, sleeping properly, performing our duties well, and using talents nicely, and exploring life happily, we are mentally healthy. So like Sir said, there are emotions come and emotions go. So it does not stay for long. So mental health issues only arise when it stays for longer than a duration prescribed and when you feel continuously in the same state. So what is the current scenario? Everybody knows what is the current scenario. It is the spread of a virus which is contagious, and vaccine is not available. Majority of the patients recover from mild flu-like symptoms, but few only succumb to complications. Extended lockdown and social isolation is being followed due to highly contagious nature of the virus. So what is the impact of the mental health? Now, with things happening all around like this and information overload on us, we are stuck in a phase or a situation. We are being exposed to fear. How? It is through information, through social media, television channels, and panic among people. We are gossiping. Everybody is talking. The main topic of discussion these days is the same thing, the COVID only. So it is all the fear of catching virus. Now, everybody knows the symptoms. What are the symptoms? They are being highlighted, everybody. It is continuously changing. The mutations are happening. Earlier, it was more, complicated. Now it is on a simpler way. So it is changing. So people are like, are afraid of catching the virus. Second is the death. Now, along with the cases registered, death rates are also very much highlighted. So it feels subconsciously that this disease is related to death. And subconsciously, you always, whenever we watch news, we watch the number of cases, then we watch the number of deaths. So we are linking the cases to death. So death is also highlighted, and hence it instills a lot of fear in us. If we concentrate on the number of people getting better, it will be more effective. Now, the third point is quarantine and isolation. Now, fear is of quarantine and isolation. This one is very much real fear, because we have heard the bad conditions of quarantine centers, and staying away from home and loved ones itself is quite scary. And therefore, this fear is also taking a toll of mental health being. Another thing is the stigma. Now, stigma attached to the virus is if someone or their family members are sent to quarantine or possibly come in contact with a patient, a kind of social stigma gets attached to it. People start avoiding them, and it is like a kind of a taboo or some crime kind of a thing. They start feeling guilty of being exposed or contacted by a virus, as if they are irresponsible in a way. See, whatever is happening is definitely required for the prevention of spread of the disease, but it has created so much gap in human relationships whose base is founded by fear. Touch and closeness are human requirements. When we are not allowed to do that freely, it instills a feeling of insecurity inside us. Another thing that is happening is economic crisis. See, this one is quite relevant, as we have seen that so many people have lost job, many industries are closing, people are facing pay cuts, payment delays, low business, etc. So the economic condition is quite uncertain and unpredictable. Financial stress is a major contribution for mood swings and irritability, and people are getting worried and anxious about future. So this is also creating a lot of problem. After that, there are relationship issues coming up. There have been always, but during this time when people are stuck inside the four walls of the house with bombardment of fear and uncertainty from all around, we are unable to handle our stress and generally explodes on people we are living with. It is recorded that the cases of domestic violence has also increased, whether it is emotional or physical. Apart from this, when the family members are spending more time together, they are having more disagreements and more conflicts, differences of views. So I have come across many people who have been facing stress in relationships earlier, but it has led to anxiety and depression now. This is the most common thing actually happening. Now the fear, as doctor said, it comes and go. But if it remains for a longer time, then it precipitates these symptoms in our body and mind, which is constant worry, unease, sleep problems. We may find difficulty in sleeping, falling asleep, or remaining keeping asleep for longer times. In the morning, we may get early, or at night we may sleep late. So these are the problems happening. Not being able to stay calm and still. Shortness of breath, heart throbbing, that is called palpitation, dry mouth, sweating, tense muscles, nausea, dizziness, stomach problems, sometimes stomach pains happens, loss of appetite. Somebody may feel nauseous. Some people may feel like stomach is bloating or something, gas formation is there, and anger outbursts. If the anxiety conditions remains for long, then it may precipitate to panic attacks, which is a rare condition, but it is quite common these days. A lot of people are coming with panic attacks. Panic attacks are the outbursts of anxiety symptoms, wherein physical symptoms like breathing problems, palpitations, sweating, anger outbursts, and restlessness, etc., are exaggerated. They are out of control. A person is not able to control the symptoms on their own. Another thing that is happening because of fear is depression. Depression, the symptoms of depression, common symptoms are like feeling loss of interest and enthusiasm in anything. They feel lonely, sad. They have no interest in doing any work. They feel hopeless, unhappy. There is change in appetite. The appetite may increase or decrease. There's binging. People may sit and watch TV for hours and then they keep binging, eating food. Or there may be disturbances in sleep pattern and depression also. There is unexplained physical pains and aches. Now, depression is a reason which lot of pains and aches are precipitated. Sometimes we are not even aware that we are suffering from depression anyhow. And there is a kind of back pain or shoulder aches or some stomach pain, headaches precipitate, and we go to the doctor, the general physician for that, and they are not able to find the reason what is happening, and they just give painkillers and all, but it doesn't go away. It changes form or it returns in some form or the other. You don't feel well. So these aches and pains, they are many times due to your mental low, mental depression and all. Then last but not the least, suicidal thoughts. Now, self-destructive thoughts are something that is very common in depression. When you feel lack of interest in life, you don't want to see, you just feel like my life is useless, it is worthless, I don't want to live anymore. What will happen if I die? Nothing is going to happen. Sometimes people want to explore what is after birth. So these are things, they lead to suicidal thoughts, and once we are not in control of these suicidal thoughts, they make us do some lethally fatal act. So apart from these mental issues, there is another thing that is happening, which is social stigma. Now in this COVID season, people are like, we are in a lockdown. We are given strict instruction to stay indoors, not to interact with people, not to go in crowds, not to attend parties, not to go in any religious gatherings or anything. So whatever our social things were happening, they are just taken up backside. So we are very social entities, and due to isolation and quarantine, people in contact with patients and patients themselves are facing a lot of discrimination and feeling unaccepted among their peers, family, and society in general. Now, this feeling of rejection, along with the feeling of disease, fear of the disease, is leading to tremendous pressure on mental health, leading to serious consequences later on, which may precipitate into physical and mental problems. Now, there comes the topic that how can we avoid having mental issues? Mental issues are happening due to overload of information right now, getting ourselves exposed to what all is happening around. So reduce exposure to social media and television with reference to pandemic or any sensational disaster, whatever is happening. A lot of things are happening, and news channels, they exaggerate it, they sensationalize it. So in this way, it puts a lot of effect on your subconscious mind. So we should avoid exposure to such things. Second is focus on facts and not the fear spread by local and unauthorized information. Whatever information we want, we should seek an authorized source from where we get the required information, what we want. Otherwise, if we focus on all the social medias, WhatsApp messages, Facebook posts, then we will start feeling fearful, because it is like they want to create that kind of fear. Third is follow social distancing rules. Whatever is told, we should follow that. But we shouldn't get paranoid about it, fussy about it, oversensitized about it. This has to be done. People get so paranoid that they stop, doing other things, and then they only focus on this fear thing. Last is the be compassionate with fellow human beings and animals. Now, what to do for restoration of and maintenance of mental health? Now, restoration is once you feel that, yes, your mental peace is getting disturbed, your routine is disturbed, then first of all and foremost thing is follow a healthy routine. Build a routine according to the days which is happening. You should build a routine. Daily sleeping and rising time should be fixed. Eating healthy habits and creativity, because we have a biorhythm, we have a bio clock. If our bio clock is disturbed every day, we change the pattern of sleeping, we change the pattern of rising in the morning, we change the time of our eating. If this happens, then what happens? Our bio clock gets disturbed, and it leads directly to your mental health issues. Second is remain busy. Now, you remain busy only when your mind goes towards the negative thoughts, and keep yourself occupied when your mind is moving towards negativity. You can do online courses, get involved in work, office work, you do some hobby courses, do home chores, decor, anything, whatever, painting, singing, dancing, whatever you feel like. Whenever you feel stressed, you switch your activity. As Dr. Bajpayee also said, that mind can't do multitasking at a time. Our mind is made only to do one thing at a moment. If you are feeling anxious, if you switch off your activity, switch off your mind directly, so your mind will start focusing into another thing. So the anxiety will be gone. So switch your activity, then focus will automatically change, because indulging in negativity leads to attraction of more negativity in your life. So switch from negative to positive at once. Another thing that is most important for mental health is do regular physical exercise. See, physical exercise is very important. It helps in releasing dopamine and serotonin and endorphins, and hence it keeps your mental balance, and activities to keep the stress hormones at bay. Remember, the increase in stress level leads to decrease in the immunity. Howsoever healthy you eat, howsoever healthy you are eating, howsoever healthy diet you are involving, but your mental diet is not good, then you will definitely get into stress, and your immunity will fall off. Second is keep your digestive system healthy, as 70% of the immune system resides in the gut. Drink lots of water and herbal teas. Lots of herbal teas are available, which are calming and soothing. Tulsi and chamomile and bergamot, they are some drugs which soothe your mind. You can use ashwagandha tea. You can use amla tea. These are stress reducing, and they keep your mind calm and your stomach and metabolic rates high. Avoid junk, oily and heavy food. Take probiotics regularly. Probiotics lies in curd. They are very helpful for digestion. Now, take time out for regular practice of Surya Namaskar. Now, if your physical regime is not already decided, you should take time out for this is coming from our background. We should keep following it. See, the management doesn't happen as a magic. You have to maintain a good routine. You have to maintain your workout regularly, so that your balance remains. So Surya Namaskar should be done 7 to 12 times every day. Breathing exercise for 10 to 15 minutes every day. Meditation for 10 to 15 minutes. And Kachap Mudra. Now you can see this Kachap Mudra is very important for panic attacks. Lot of people come to me for, getting panic attacks and anxiety attacks. So when medicines are obviously at help, we prescribe medicines for that. But in case sometimes medicines are not available, or some people do not want to take medicine, then this mudra, which is like you make your fist tight with your thumb protruding between your middle and your ring finger and outside, and you clench your fist tight and keep it near your heart. This mudra is very much helpful to combat anxiety. Now, another thing is things and situations that are not in control should be accepted with faith and not fear. See, we should be a little more mindful. We should have more faith, because whatever is happening, it is not in our control. Whatever is happening outside our little own house, our little own mind, is not in our control. So we should have faith. We should accept it, how the things are coming. Sometimes, learning to stay a little idle and out of work and relaxing our mind is also very good. Just enjoy the present moment. Sip your tea and relish. Chew and enjoy each morsel of food. Observe an animal, bird, or insect. Just be idle. Stargaze. Talk to plants. Do anything which makes you feel like, yes, you are connected, you are grounded, you are not running around in a rat race. You just have to be yourself for a moment, like when we used to do when we were children, when we were kids. You used to observe animals outside. We used to keep sitting whole afternoon seeing some cat feeding the kitten or something. So this is like, be idle, be in yourself, enjoy the moment, be mindful. Present moment is something which should be cherished. Don't compare your life to others. It's not a rat race that you're left behind. And this is impact of too much exposure of social media and overloading of information. We are getting information from all around, what everybody is doing globally, what all is happening. We are aware of everything. Too much information is coming. Our mind is not able to process it. So we sometimes feel lost. Many times success stories of people are an inspiration for us, but at times it gives us pressure of performance, and we compare and get filled with low self-worth and esteem. If you need to attain certain level in your life, it has to be an urge from within to explore a particular talent or idea in your mind. But if it doesn't happen on its own, give yourself time. Everything happens at their own time. Don't get stressed by seeing others winning their success stories, because you are for a different purpose. You have a different pace. There are a lot of college dropouts who are very great business people right now. There are a lot of people who were not in good studies. They are talented singers, dancers all over the world. And even if you're not blessed with an extraordinary talent, there is some purpose in everybody's life. So just accept your purpose and live your life like that. Don't overstress yourself by seeing others winning and moving ahead of you. Next is pray and do rituals with faith. Praying is very important because it increases the level of oxytocin and serotonin and helps you to keep calm and peaceful. Praying is also shifting your focus from fear to faith. It shifts our focus from negativity to positivity, from disconnect to connection, from sadness to gratitude. So basically, shifting of focus is the main thing, and practice gratitude and be thankful for whatever you have. Apart from your own responsibility, we have got social responsibilities for other people. There's no need to panic. Majority of people are getting well, and only a very minor percentage of people is getting severe complications. So if you are in contact with people, if you have the symptoms, get yourself tested, isolate yourself, and if it's in family, help that member to stay in social isolation. Be compassionate and kind. It's not a stigma, it's not a taboo. You don't have to, discriminate between people. Stay connected with phone calls and video calls. Help if anything is required. Human beings are social animals, so isolation and stigma attached to it is more fearful to us than the disease itself. The need of the hour is to be considerate towards fellow humans and show respect and love. People who are living alone, away from family, especially the singles, students, and old people should be checked regularly by their neighbor and colleagues. And apart from that, if you still have symptoms which you can't control by maintaining a good routine and doing physical exercises, or you are like in some kind of panic at the moment and you want to get motivated and you need some treatment as well, because sometimes you need a pill, sometimes you go overboard and you cannot control your symptoms, so you may need some kind of guidance or some kind of medication, then you must seek the help of a counselor, a psychologist, or psychiatrist, because mind is the most important part of us. It controls the body, and hence if the mind is healthy, then only the body will remain healthy, because otherwise we'll get lot of problems as we discussed earlier, like in pains, aches, and all things. Thank you. This was a very short.
Thank you, Dr. Dwivedi, for making us understand the functioning of the human behavior and mind in these difficult times in such wonderful words and in such a wonderful way. Dr. Dwivedi, by far, there is no question which you have answered. Therefore, we would like to thank you for your enlightening talk and being with us, for helping us to cope in a better way with these corona times. Thank you, Dr. Dwivedi. Now I will request Engineer John Wesley, the Deputy Registrar, Administration, to address the gathering.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Respected speakers of the webinar, my dear participants, it is indeed a wonderful experience for all of us to listen to our learned speakers and experts during this course of webinar. I hope all our participants would have thoroughly educated through this webinar. On behalf of our Honorable Vice Chancellor and the University, I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks and gratitude to our learned speakers, the panelists, and all the participants. We indeed had more than 900 participants registered and witnessed this national webinar. If you have missed any of the lectures, do not worry. The videos are available at our university Facebook page at SHUATS_Allahabad and also in our YouTube channel, Connect SHUATS. Dear participants, your participation certificate is ready now. You can download your certificate by logging into our university website, that is www.shuats.edu.in/home science certificate, and download the same using your credentials like the email ID and the mobile numbers which you have used to register for this webinar. Sam Higginbotham University of Agriculture, Technology and Sciences is a 110 years old institution serving the nation with its clear mandate, food security for the nation and for the mankind. Admissions for various undergraduate and postgraduate programs for the session 2020-21 is open now. We do offer 47 undergraduate and 110 postgraduate programs in different fields. Please visit our university website for more details. Shortly, you will receive an email from the organizing secretary with details about the web links for downloading the participation certificate as well as for feedback forms. I'll just share the screen for you to note down the web link for downloading the certificate, that is www.shuarts.edu.in/home science certificate. Please note down. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful experience in downloading your participation certificate. I congratulate the organizers, the head of the departments, and the Dean, Ethelind College of Home Science, for conducting this webinar in the most professional way. Be safe, be strong. We will work together to overcome this pandemic. I wish you all very wonderful days ahead. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Anshu.
Thank you, Engineer Wesley, for your inputs and making the participants very clear about receiving their certificates and the other information that you've provided. As we have reached towards the end of the webinar, but it will not be complete without acknowledging and applauding the contribution of many in creating this platform and also in the successful culmination of the webinar. Therefore, I invite Dr. Anjali Mathur, another organizing secretary, to do the honor. Dr. Mathur, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Showing gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful things human can do for each other. I, Dr. Anjali Mathur, on behalf of the organizing committee of the National Webinar on Living with COVID-19, Biomechanical and Psychological Considerations for Family Wellbeing, take this opportunity to express my deep sense of gratitude, first and foremost to God Almighty for His never-ending grace and constant blessing on each one of us. I would like to express my profuse gratitude and sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Most Reverend Professor Dr. Rajendra Bilal sir, for being a constant source of inspiration and for encouraging us in all our academic endeavors. I remain much obliged to Professor Dr. A.K. Lawrence, Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs and Quality Assurance, SHUATS, for helping, guiding, and supporting us in conducting this event. We thank you, sir, for your unconditional support and guidance at all times. I take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to Professor Dr. S.P. Lal, Pro Vice Chancellor, Administration, SHUATS, for his cooperation, ever-willing help, and valuable advice. I also express my gratitude to Reverend Professor Dr. Sarabjit Herbert, Pro Vice Chancellor, Planning, Monitoring and Development, who is always there to help, encourage, and motivate us. I owe my gratitude also to our Registrar, Professor Dr. Robin L. Prasad, SHUATS, who is ever ready to extend a helping hand as and when needed. Thank you, sir, for your constant help and support rendered to us at all times. I would like to acknowledge the help, support, and cooperation extended to us by Engineer C.J. Wesley, Deputy Registrar Administration, as well as the Chairman of the Social Media Committee and his entire team for their ever-willing help and the technical support rendered to us in making this webinar possible. My sincere thanks go to our eminent speaker, Dr. Dhurjyoti Majumdar, Retired Director Grade Scientist G, DRDO, New Delhi, for his enlightening lecture and insightful presentation. I had an opportunity to hear you earlier also, which had left me mesmerized by the way you explain things in a very simplified manner. I am certain that all participants are fortunate to get a chance to hear you, sir. We really appreciate that you took out time from your busy schedule to address the participants and share your expertise with us. We are also fortunate to have Dr. Alok Bajpai, a renowned psychiatrist from Kanpur, with us this morning. It's always a delight to hear you, sir. We were enthralled by your style and the content of your lecture. The issues that you talked out in your presentation were based on factual analysis, which gave us valuable information about the psychological perspective of the situation. Please accept our sincere gratitude for your stimulating lecture. I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Shilpa Kandravedi, consultant and counselor Prayagraj, for her thought-provoking and interesting lecture. We thank you for sharing with us your valuable thoughts, intelligent and well thought out solutions to cope up with the current pandemic situation in order to restore our mental health. My words may not be enough to express our gratitude towards Professor Dr. Ranu Prasad, Dean, Ethelind College of Home Science, who is always standing by our side. Her innovative ideas, valuable suggestions, coupled with amicable nature and affectionate touch, keeps us all motivated to accomplish all our endeavors with zeal and enthusiasm. We thank you, ma'am, for your support, guidance, and unending inspiration. I would like to place on record the support and valuable advice given to us by the Faculty of Family Resource Management and Human Development and Family Studies. I would like to mention Dr. Razia Parvez, Dr. Manju Mahananda, Dr. Rekha Verma, and Dr. Neelam Mitra, who were there to support us in conducting this webinar. I would also like to thank the entire faculty of Ethelind College of Home Science, who is always there to motivate, encourage, and support one another like a family. I'm highly obliged to each one of them. I extend my heartfelt thanks to all our participants for their complete involvement and enthusiastic participation in the webinar. I hope this webinar has provided a better insight into the biomechanical and psychological issues related to COVID-19 pandemic and proved beneficial in understanding the strategies that can be adopted to restore the happiness and maintain well-being in the family. Last but not the least, I am happy to thank the organizing committee for their unstinted cooperation, support, and help in making this webinar possible. Thank you for attending this webinar. Stay protected, stay safe. Thank you.
Sam Bottom, University of Agriculture Technology Sciences, logging off, Jai Yeshu, Jai Hind, and Jai Bharat.